Masechet Hullin Daf Gimel Amud Aleph, 15 lines down. We had a whole discussion before about a minor if his action is actionable or is it not considered a legally significant action. And now we're going to have a different version of the conversation. Rabbi Nachman bar Yitzhak Matni Achi learned it as follows: Amar B'Yehia bar Abba ba'ai bar Rabbi Yochanan, Katan yesh lo ma'aseh or en lo ma'aseh? Can a katan have a legal significant action or not? Amar le Rabbi Ami b'ti b'le machshava. He said, okay, why don't you ask the same thing regarding his thought? Even without the action, the Gemara says, "Ma'ishna machshava lo kami b'ali." Why didn't you ask him about a thought in the first place? The Tanan en le machshava, because Mishnah clearly says there's no thought. Ma'aseh nami lo tibali, the Tanan en ma'aseh, but then you shouldn't ask me about an act because a different Mishnah says, same Mishnah says rather, they can do acts. The Gemara says, how can we value? The question is, the right to get a we're not sure if it's Rat Rabban. Upashit, then we answered, Yesh Lenu Asad V'Afidim Raisa. Minors have an act Midoraisa, and then Machshav Afidim, and they don't have a thought, considered thoughts, even Rabbanan. And regarding to, let's say they're doing an action, you want to see what their thought process was through their action. Midoraita, and not technically not Midoraita, Midoraita, but Chachamim will count it, like for the case of the Korban. بعد من يشمل هنا ما لم يتسيك بالكوتشيم شو باسو. How you know that if someone were to accidentally slaughter a korban for an animal for a korban, it's not a good shechita. شنيمار, like we said, like a case of a knife throwing. شنيمار بشاحت بنا بكار, you slaughter شتهي شعيتا لشم بكار, to slaughter the animal for the sake of the korban. أما الله شمال تلجف هنا زبدنا هي. We already knew that. لعكمنا, I know that if we know you're required, but how you know that if you don't do it or you threw the knife and you did it anyhow, I know that it doesn't count. You should slaughter it for the purpose. Okay, Mishnah. An animal slaughtered by a goy is considered nevela. Not only that, there's a tumah by touching it. It's considered a full-fledged tumah, full-fledged nevela. Nevela in sounds like it's a nevela. It's sort of an but it's not considered a sort of benefit. Okay. Montana who's going to? Amar b'chiyah bar Abba ולא כבלעזר كنت بلعزر. Yeah, but that's because he was بلعزر. هأمر استمع شباب وسرقين نافر قميم. We say that in general that an unspecified intent of a goy, we assume it's for Avodah Zarah. And therefore you would assume that it's for Avodah Zarah, and therefore you would have assumed it's Asur Fana. The fact that it's not, must be it's not. Rabbi Ami Amar Be'achi Tanan, he says our Mishnah as follows: Sheitat David Chamim Nevilah is considered Nevilah. The mean David Chamim, a goy is not usually slaughtered by for Avodah Zarah. A renegade Jew would be. Tanina Lahar Tanit around these things as well. Shtat min la Rachavim himself, a renegade Jew slaughtered for Avodah Zarah. Pito bat kuti, his bread's like the bread of a kuti, and therefore he can't be eaten. You know, Yonesech is wine considered Avodah Zarah. And Yonesech, Sefarav et Seferei Kosmin, his books are considered like Goyim books, like the priests of Goyim, she says, and therefore they weren't. Perotav Tevelin, his proofs are assumed to be no Teruma taken off. V'yeshmim af, and people even say, Baram Zin, you can assume it's children of Mamzers. Tanakama, according to Tanakama, how come he didn't say that? He stole him of He says a woman would not allow, a man would not allow his wife to be hefker, and therefore you don't have to consider his children to be Mamzer. Mar Mor, Shitata Rachamim Nevila. Whenever it's slaughtered by a guy, it's considered Nevila. Why don't you assume that this guy also is a renegade? He is not like God, and therefore he's throwing those out. The Gemara says, you don't think it's a mean among the goyim. I mean, there are a lot of meaning in goyim. Whereas they're not majority, they're not. The goyim outside Eretz Yisrael not considered worshippers of the Zerah. Rather, they just do their religion from their fathers. There's no meaning amongst the goyim. The mind was said for Elam Shechita slaughtering, Hashtash Shechita mean the Israel that you said that if it's slaughtered by a Jewish mean it's considered for Aswar as of the Zerah, why would you teach me regarding Goy? And then Mordi, maybe you want to say that the halacha pushing him down. Masechet Gadara says that a mean is considered such a threat to society that if he's drowning, you don't save him. And if you pass him by a pit, you can give him a friendly bump to send him on his way. So if that's the case, hashtag Israel Madini, if you do that to a Jew, is for a goy. The Gemara says, regarding to accepting a korban from them for the Beit Hamikdash. Time when you can, Pasuk says you can accept the Quran from amongst you. Below Kul, not everybody. Below see the Muar to exclude the renegade Jew. Mikem from among you. Bachem Hilafti, I have separated, distinguished people between amongst the Jews. V'lo b'v'teichim, not amongst the Goyim. And therefore you can accept from any Goy. Mimai, how you know this? Dilma Hachi, the Pasuk is saying as follows. Me Israel Masadi Kabil. From Jews you can accept Quran, only from the Tzaddikim. Mersha'ilus, not from Goyim, not from Rishai. But regarding Goyim, Klal, maybe they can't accept it all. Not even the good one. Gemara says, "La can't be." And because it says, "Ish." Turako is that one man. Matlumar ish is white double lashon of man. Rabota Chaim Shnadrin. The Rabot Israel. Israel. They can. We see that they can donate korbanot, and therefore we can't exclude all of them. Umitamav masa, we say that there's tumah through the nevelah that they slaughtered. The animal that you consider nevelah, there's tumah. The Gemara says, "Pshita came into nevelah. He didn't tell us that. Why would you not assume that it's tameh like any other nevelah?" The Gemara says, "Amara babar hachi kani," means as follows: "Zum mitamav masa." This carries tumah when this has tumah when you carry it. Ve'esh lachar shim mitamav afil ba'oil. Another type of korban that carries like a oil, like a Kamat met if it's like a roof above it or a tree. Be'ezer, what's that? Zuti krobet rachamim v'kari yidab mitira. This is like a korban of an avodah zarah. And according to Yerim Mitira, it says that in avodah zarah korban has tum'ah like oil. Ikadam in version. Amar ba'ava hachitan in zum kana asa v'yesh lecha achat sheikazu. This has tum'ah of carrying and something else. V'yesh lecha achat sheikazu. And what's that? Shem tum'ah b'masa v'ein tum'ah oil. It has tum'ah only by carrying and not the tent. Be'ezer, what's that? Tekrov l'chaim the law could be is avodah zarah korban against Rabbi Yehuda who says that it does, and therefore this would be a proof against him. Tanya Rabbi Yehuda, like we put in the source. Minan teruv l'chavim shahim tamam oil. How do you know that a korban of a goy has oil tuma? Shemar b'yitamadu l'ba'al pa'or v'yachuz v'chem etim. They consider the korbanot of the goyim like for avodah zarah, like the sacrifices of the dead. Ma'amet mitamah, just like a human corpse has tuma like of a tent, of a roof. After tekrov l'chavim oil, also to the korban as well. Ashwahab that someone slaughtered at nighttime. V'chein as mamshahad or a blind person slaughtered. Shiraz kasher. Okay. Ashwahab sounds like he slaughtered. That means the avadin only after the fact he slaughters kosher. But if he can't see what he's doing at nighttime, he should not do the chatkilah. Remini v'stira lo'olam shahatin anybody can slaughter at all times. Ben yom day or night. Ben b'rosh hagag, ben b'rosh hasina. Top of roof, top of boat. Does not make a difference. Even the chatkilah, the Gemara says, Marapan had a question. B'shat v'kah can do that. You can slaughter at nighttime if you have a light. Maravashi, they can I can prove it to you. That is different between two Braitot. Between Braitot and Mishnah. The Tanai Hatam Dumyan Yom. We said night and day. And therefore you're slaughtering at nighttime or daytime, meaning nighttime would be when it's a light like day. And over here, over here, Mishnah compared it to a blind person. The same case as a blind person. I mean, obviously from here that our case, in our Mishnah is referring to blind person or person slaughtering in the dark versus Etzba'at Azur. But in the case of the other Braita, where we said it was mutar, it was like nighttime, like daytime, which be they're able to see. We'll stop here.